What's up guys, Justin here for S&S Archery. In today's gear video, I am out on a hike with my S&S Backcountry Trekking Poles. If you are a new owner of a set of our poles, we wanted to create a video showing you guys some tips, some things that we've learned along the way to give you a better overall experience while using your trekking poles, whether that's for hiking or hunting. Hopefully this video helps you guys out. All right guys, so taking a look at our S&S Backcountry Trekking Poles in an overview to start with. Down here we have a rubber cap. Now, this cap is really designed for transporting these trekking poles. There's a very sharp carbide tip down here at the bottom that can definitely pop a hole in your pack, your front seat of your pickup. It's very sharp. So definitely use that rubber cap. It just pushes on and stays on pretty good. If you continue to hike with this, you will end up losing them. I've lost several, so mainly used for transporting. Moving up, we have our baskets. Now, we really recommend you guys run the baskets pretty much all the time. They're small enough to where if you're moving through brush, they're not going to catch, but ultimately they just help with your pole not sinking down in the ground too far. This is also threaded on here, so these are removable. So if you ever wanted to, hike in deep snow, there are add-on baskets you can find on Amazon, anywhere. These aren't as great in the snow, mainly for that loose dirt is where we see that really excel. Next up, we have basically our adjustment for sizing the trekking pole. So this has to do with, our 3 leg sections. Counterclockwise to unloosen, slide them nice and open to set them at the right height. You're going to see on each leg section there are measurements. What's really nice about having this numbering system is you can set these really fast. So whether you're on flat ground, you like them basically at a 90-degree angle, downhill you want them extended further, or uphill you want it shorter, you can kind of keep that mental note on where these go so you can speed it up the process. Moving up the trekking poles, you're going to see on my set, I've got these 2 round circle mount things here. These are from Wiser Precision. So this is a quick connect system that creates basically a bipod for my rifle. I'll have another video showing a little bit more in depth, showing you how to mount these up on your trekking poles. But we do sell these as well. I'll put a link right here so you guys can check them out. But if you don't have these, you're still okay. You can tie your wrist straps together and basically create that shape as well. No, it's not as rigid, so that's why I run the Wiser Precision Quick-Stix. Moving up, we have our foam grip. Really universal, there's no right and left. Both are going to be shaped exactly the same. And as far as your straps and adjusting your straps, you typically want to insert your hand from the bottom side of the strap. It's going to give you the most comfortable grip. It's also going to help pull your wrist up as you're moving uphill or even on flat surfaces, just creating that momentum. To adjust your straps, very simple process. You basically have this little pigtail here on the bottom side. You're just going to pull it upwards and then pull the top strap, and that's going to lengthen for you. When you want to tighten it up, you're just going to pull this back down, that pigtail here in the bottom. Once you get the desired position, you just pull the main straps back down and it'll lock in place. So just like that, very easy to do. Another benefit of having a set of trekking poles with you is, these are poles in a sense for a shelter. So if you're a tarp guy, you can definitely use these, leave them at camp. Worst case, you do shoot an animal, you go back to camp, you get these to pack out your game. So definitely multi-purposes, tying your straps together, creating a bipod, or getting something like the Wiser Precision Quick-Stix definitely helps you out. Gives these more of a multifunctional use, versus just using them for hiking out. All right, guys, so getting into kind of the situational hiking, the different sizes that you want to run these trekking poles in. It's not going to be the same for every person. Typically if we're on flat ground, we like to start out with at least a 90-degree angle with our arms out or a little bit less. This is going to help with your fatigue, so you're not pulling your arms up so high every time you're moving. They're not going to be too low to where you're really not getting any work out of your trekking poles. So if you're in a very consistent flat hill approach, run these out that 90-degree angle or a little bit less. It's definitely going to help you out. So when we start hiking uphill, we definitely want to shorten our trekking poles. Because the ground is closer to us versus that flat, you know, if we don't make any adjustments on these trekking poles, you know, a lot of times they're going to be too high. And as we're pulling ourselves up and really using our upper body to kind of help out our legs, we're expelling a ton of energy by having them too long. So definitely keep them lower and just stride through so these hands don't have to come up very high as you're hiking. When we take a look at downhill, it's just the opposite. We want to lengthen these poles out to almost create breaks for ourselves. I typically will leave my palms right on top of my poles, and I can almost walk them down, and it just helps my knees on these steep angles, you know, going down. Especially when you start putting on 50 to 80 pound packs. It definitely helps the fatigue on the knees. So the last situation that we're going to cover is side hilling. If you have a very long side hill with a steep angle, your downhill pole, definitely lengthen that so it's more up at that 90-degree angle, and then also shorten that uphill slope pole so it's not way up high. So there's just a few things you can do. You know, it doesn't take long just to twist these, lower them a bit, tighten them back in. So, you know, those are just some of the key things that we look at when we're talking slope and overall, you know, adjustments. So the last thing we're going to cover is possible issues that you might have with your trekking poles. The main issue that we have with guys that call in, they don't seem to want to tighten up. So as you turn these clockwise, they just sit there and spin. The problem is with inside. So if you loosen this all the way out, you're going to see this green little wedge. First thing you want to do is inspect that wedge and make sure it's not broke. If it's broke, it's not grabbing, it's not going to twist up tight. The next thing you're going to want to do is, more than likely this plastic wedge has spun up to the top. And so as you tighten this up, it's not pinching here on this piece of Teflon. So what you want to do is spin this down about halfway, stick your pole in, and then try it again. Now if you've gone too far by spinning this green wedge down, it's going to be really hard for your pole to go in. So then back it out just a little bit and push it in and tighten it up. You know, using the trekking poles can definitely help out your overall experience, whether you're hiking or hunting. We definitely take these with us all the time. Whether you're like Rob that runs one, you know, with him at all times, leaves the other at the truck, or you're like me that runs them on any hunt, whether it's bear, elk, deer, no matter the distance of the hunt, I'm always taking these with me. Complete game changer. They don't weigh much. So if you guys have any questions about our trekking poles or the video today, please feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email. If you guys have found this video to be useful in any way, please hit subscribe to follow us along on more gear, hunting, and review videos. Thanks, guys.